Hello everybody, Secondhand Dan coming to you from the Penny Pincher thrift shop land. I'm here in the workshop and it is a cold one. It is like 37 degrees in here in my workshop. I'm not so much complaining as I am stating a fact. I mean, I can still get a couple things done in here. Now the showroom is actually kind of toasty compared to the workshop. Got the infrared natural gas heater going. It's set on high right now, and even with it set on high, for it to try and keep up and maintain the temperature I have set on the furnace is 55 degrees. So every once in a while the furnace will still kick on as the radiant heater struggles to keep it warm enough so that the furnace doesn't keep on. And like I said, any heat created in here wafts up to the ceiling, which is actually the floor of my upstairs apartment where I live. So the hardest part about working in a cold environment is the cold hands. You know, you start grabbing tools, it's like working with an icicle. You can put on a glove or two, but you lose some dexterity. But it is what it is, and I only have to put up with this cold in here for another 13 days, and then it's Florida bound. I was actually working on this heater here. This is a what they call a blue flame. The one I showed you in the showroom is called a radiant heater. It has like a brick tile on the back of it. I guess the gas permeates into the tile and it ignites. But this one actually has a burner on it where you'll actually see the flame appear in here. And I tested this unit to see if it was working. It will work, except the igniter is kaput. So I took the igniter out and I've ordered another one. Well, the reason it don't work is, for one thing, there's no top on it. But it's an easy fix. They're just held in with a nut on the underside and one wire plugs into it. But to test it, being that the igniter wouldn't work, I had to actually take these two screws off and then lift the face off. And then I was able to light it with I guess I used my torch. Yeah, I used this torch here. And this torch here is now devoid of all propane in it. It would not shut off whenever I would take the top off. You'd hear a little hissing coming out of it. I mean, the top was on it when I got it. It was probably from a clean out. You know, I probably had to clean out somebody's house at one point in time. But when you took the top off of it, you'd hear a little hiss. So I just lit the torch and let it burn. But to get gas to this, I have a unique way of doing it. And that was just for testing purposes. This is actually an air line for like your compressor. This is my furnace room. And here's where the air line was attached. And there's my shutoff valve to supply that air line. So I'd run that air line out here, and I was able to test multiple things, you know, especially like dryers or space heaters and anything else that would run on natural gas. But I got tired of dealing with this orange hose. This orange hose is crispy. It is like, it's stiffer than some wires. So it was real unruly when you try and roll it up. So I said, that's it. I'm not working with that one anymore. So in the future, maybe I'll work with this one. It's a lot more flexible. If you look at this one here, like a wire. Anyway, let me shut this door here. I have a furnace in here. And the thermostat in here is set at like 45 degrees. So if it gets colder in this room, there's your outside wall. The heat will kick on. It will get colder than that for sure when the temperatures dip down in the lower 20s, teens, and below zero. This furnace is going to kick on and supplement some of the heat sources upstairs. Plus the water heater is giving off a little radiant heat too, just from heating water. But we like to keep this door closed this time of year. During the warm weather, it don't matter. I can keep this door open. All right, well, back to the main workshop. I said I would run that orange air line all the way out to here and connect it, and then go back into the furnace room and turn the valve on, and I'd have a supply of gas for testing this. So it ran good. Like I said, I would have to light it with a lighter. You can't light it without taking the cover off, though. So the igniter for it is like $6 on Amazon. So oddly enough, that's one of those things that says it's like a week away from getting to me. And as far as the that heater, that radiant heater in the showroom, I've actually gone ahead and ordered another heater. It's similar to this. The one I ordered is a 30,000 BTU Blue Flame. And the reason I have to upgrade is because the one in the showroom does not have a thermostat. It will remain on until I turn it off. I mean, it's got two settings, a low and a high. But if you're on low forever, unless you come along and turn it off. Now, the BTU on this says it's like 5,000. 10,000. The one I'm have ordered is 30,000. That's one reason why I just don't swap the heater out in the showroom with this heater, even when I get it fixed. No, I'll probably just sell this one. Hopefully I get like maybe $55 for it once I fix it. If the igniter gets here soon enough, because like I said, I'm leaving for Florida in another 13 days. All right, well, I got a tiny project. Well, the project's probably easier than cleaning off the workbench. All right, here's the project. It is Sunshine Farms, a pasteurized product. There's a 5-pound brick of cheese in here, but this is a nice box. There's a lot of people out there that appreciate antiques and primitives that would like this maybe in their office or in their kitchen. Maybe to hold a couple tools, spatulas on the kitchen counter or something like that. But the reason is it's a mini project right now is, do you see what's wrong with it? The top is still nailed on. So whenever the original owner got the cheese, he decided to pull the bottom off and left the top on. So anybody that's going to buy this wants to be able to utilize it, so they will want it open. But once you sit on your counter like this, the graphics are upside down. So I'm going to pull this off and put it on this side. My daughter Dottie was here yesterday, and she brought a piece of ductwork that had a flapper on it. It went through the wall in the exterior of the house, I guess for like maybe a hood range to vent, and there was a flapper. Well, hers rusted out and fell out, and this one she bought was too long, so I had to cut this excess off for her. That's why I have the cutoff wheel out. Oh, it's freezing my fingers holding on to these tools. And these are fittings I was using I had to find one because I wanted to put a plug on that airline, the hard line in the furnace room, because I'm leaving for a couple of months. So let's just go ahead, and since I won't be here to supervise, my son may come in once in a while, but it just seems safer to go ahead and put a plug in it for now. Well, this should be fairly easy. You know, I'm not sure why, but if you look real close, you can see this much lip is exposed here, but not as much overhangs on the other side. But I'm sure they were just rapid fire put together before they sent them out. So I'm going to get a putty knife in here and see if I can just pry this off, nails and all, and maybe just put it on the other side and hammer down on it. I can see 3 nail holes here, like 1, 2, 3. Of course, the same thing on this end. 1, 2, 3. But when you look at the bottom, which is actually the top, there's 2. But that doesn't matter. It's just an observation. I'm not sure why they didn't, you know, do 3 all the way around, or do 2 all the way around. And for some reason, one side is 2. Anyway, putty knife. Now I want to do it without breaking the wood. So there's no hurry. I'm looking forward to getting back down to Florida. It's always bittersweet, though. I'm going to appreciate the warm weather, the friends I made down there, and the interesting projects I have. This ain't popping as easy as I thought it would. And the fact that I have a job of sorts down there. I work with the auction company down there, Dudley's Auction. If you want to see anything about them, you can go onto YouTube, because like every Monday they usually post a preview of what's coming up on the Tuesday auction. And that's the big deal. That's where I do most of my labors with them. I just show up on the Tuesday mornings. I have helped them set up auctions for on-site, you know, at an actual person's house. I've helped them set up maybe 3 of those while I was down there. But sometimes I don't work those auctions at all, because the man in charge necessarily doesn't feel he needs that much help, or that maybe his payroll is a bit heavy. All right, I'm still trying to find a way to end here. Let's try this. Kind of like a putty knife, a little bit thicker, a little bit stronger. Okay, get my hammer. Yeah, one of the things that I'm going to miss most, of course, is leaving my grandson behind, but I'm grateful we live in an age where we can FaceTime. I mean, I'll miss my son also, but this is just a little more stubborn than I was expecting. Maybe that's why they pulled the other end off. Huh. Well, it could be that the nails are slightly rusted, creating more of a grip. I'm thinking maybe if I put something in the vise that's square, I can pound down on the box itself. Let's see, but it's going to have to fit in the box. Ooh, that should work. Let's put this in the vise over here. I guess I can take that torch out of the vise. Like I said, I burned it out, so there's no gas left in it. That way I will have a clean conscience about throwing it in the trash, and it won't be potentially a bomb for somebody. You can tell, because usually when you pull the torch top off, it usually goes boop. There's no noise coming out of this one. But I used to be able to just hear it. This bottle here is probably 40 years old. It's an actual Bernzomatic. that used to come with the kit when you bought them. All right, well, clamping this into the vise. Not sure how this is going to help, but now there's no nails in the long side. Just in the ends. I hope I don't have to abandon this project. It's something so simple, it can prove to be difficult. Okay, well, plan C. Clamp the box itself in the vise. Trying to stay close to the end where it's nailed. I put a little pressure on there, little. Nah. All right. Well, I think that plan's failed already. I hate to say I'm defeated by a stupid couple of nails. But I just don't want to destroy the box, trying to get the nails to separate. Okay, I'm making a little bit of progress here. At least I've got a gap in here. Using the sticker blade. Come on, baby, work with me. I'm trying to give you new life. Because it'll definitely be more desirable if I get the wood switched around. I mean, there's some people who would appreciate this thing just as it is. Maybe throw it up on their bookshelf. But you couldn't use it for a box, only as a decoration. Let's get another putty knife on it. And you got to be careful too while prying it. You don't want to booger the ends up so it looks scalloped. Yeah, I mean, it's getting a little cracking on the on that wood panel, but that's not that significant. It's like I basically said, I think it's a matter of those nails having a pinch of rust on them. All right, well, I've got a gap in there. So maybe now I can get my Dremel tool in there and cut those off. And then I'll just use different nails to attach it to the bottom, because the bottom's going to be the bottom, so even if the nails are different, nobody's going to notice when it's sitting down. So I must be a glutton for punishment, because like I say, everything I grab is like grabbing a block of ice. All right, the Dremel. Check my previous videos to see the story on the Dremel. it actually got a decent number of views. All right. The hardest part about using the Dremel now is taking one of these tiny little discs, these little cutoff wheels, and attaching it to the little arbor. First you got to find, here we go. It goes on here. The big deal about changing these little discs, the fact that they are fragile, and they're fragile when in use. You know, not just fragile while changing them. They're little screw goes through here. My fingers feel like popsicles now. I've thought about it. Of course, now it's a little late, and it always seems like, well, there dropped a little screw. Fortunately, I saw it right away. A little screw just doesn't pass right through here. It's like it's so close in size. You have to gingerly force it. I mean, I was thought about, trying to heat this place up, even if it's for a month while I'm still here. There is something called they call it a diesel heater because it runs on diesel fuel. It's not a diesel engine, it just runs on diesel fuel. So I'm thinking about trying to pick one of those up at some point. But you have to exhaust them. You actually have to put a hole through the wall so that you don't poison yourself with burnt diesel. Finally, I got it through there. All right, screw it down to this little shaft. And there's one guy, I saw a video, he had one of those diesel heaters. You can buy them on Amazon. They're about $200. And he was experimenting and running on different solutions, but I mean, I wouldn't be adverse about running some used motor oil in them, see what happens. But he was putting everything under the sun in them to see what would happen. Now I need a wrench. Don't have a wrench in the Dremel kit, so I'm always running to the toolbox. It's must be 10 millimeter, or is it 10 millimeter / 3/8? Oh, there was a screwdriver in my box. Now, I'll put the screwdriver through this hole, and it in turn engages with a little fan blade in there to keep the Dremel from turning while I undo this. And that's what one video was about. Because there is a switch on here that's made for that, but it doesn't work. Now, I'm not sure how long this system's going to work, but right now it's working. I said it's working. Using the wrong tool. I don't think the screwdriver is holding the fan blade. It's just, let's try this. One of the tools. I don't know. I hear a dog barking. Almost sounds like it's in my backyard. This is very difficult and unsatisfying. Now I'm starting to complain. Okay, is it loose? Yeah. There we go. Came out. That's the hardest part about this job, messing with the Dremel. Now I'm looking for the cutoff. There it is, the cutoff wheel. Now the wrench seems like it's shrunk. There it goes. Finally get back on that. I guess what is it called? An arbor? No, it's not an arbor. A chuck. I guess the Dremel has a chuck. I really do appreciate some of the watchers. So if you're watching, let me know you're watching. If just even a thumbs up. So here we go. The Dremel works good. It's just not convenient to use. Oh, you have to be careful when you set that Dremel down that you don't snap that little disc on the end. Okay, you can see I've got this end loose. Now I've got to do this end, which I'm not even going to pry on. I'm just going to bury the Dremel in the seams there. I'll bring you a little closer for that. Okay, so the idea is to line up with the nails and plunge straight down and sever the nail. All this just to put new life into an old cheese box. Okay, now I'm going to apply this to the bottom. Now the one I did the plunge on, you can see the plunge marks from the disc. And you can see the nails glistening a little bit there. The other side where I actually pried it first and then put the router in, you actually have a little nail stubble sticking up, so I need to tap those down. Now I can leave these nail heads in here and just put nails next to it. Or I could probably just go with nothing but glue. Good old white glue. That's what I'm going to do. That way we won't change up the aesthetics of it that much. So I'm going to glue it up. I probably need to put it in the showroom because it's too cold in here for glue. All right. Clamps, glue, cheese box. And my fingers are getting numb back here in this workshop. The only way they'd be colder is if I was making snowballs with my bare hands. There's some instant gratification when you come in and you wave your numb, cold fingers in front of the heater. My cold beer sign fell over. I just washed this sign. It's probably from like 1973. I sprayed it down with typical cleaners, I don't know, and I used a paintbrush and swabbed it, then rinsed it off with water. I'm not sure why there's a residue mark around here. I believe this sign was capable of selling more than Black Label, so maybe they had a sign over top of the Black Label promoting a different beer, and that fell off or was pulled off. But I say it's from 1973, and I'll show you why. You see the back of the sign is got a whole lot of water staining on it, but considering what it is and how old it is, you know, it's going to be somewhat rare. It was built by the local 1714 fabricators, union made. But it was for the Carling Brewing Company, Black Label, non-illuminated. And if you look, it says item number 1673. So I'm thinking the 73 has something to do. Maybe this is their 16th production sign of 1973, or it was January 6, 19... No, well, it wouldn't be. No, because they wouldn't change the item number every day, but in the 16th week of 73. Well, that's my hunch. I'm not sure what the PB is, but it's old. The hanger part is destroyed. But I guess it was also designed... I guess there's little tabs here you could pull out. And maybe they had a cardboard angle that you could make this a bench top, a tabletop. There's some teardrop for a nail and a nail. I guess that would still work. Anyway, so it's good to be in here where it's warm. Let me clear up this working space. Okay, well, I want to set you guys up on the tripod. This is a vintage tripod here. And to adjust it, the legs are telescopic, except I only got the one to come out right now. They didn't put much of a grip on here. You should be able to grab right about here and counter clockwise and then pull it out and then tighten it. Well, I've only have one right now that's done that, so I'm going to have to get a pair of pliers on it. But I don't want to mar this thing up, so there's just no reason to. It's a vintage tripod with a modern fixture on the top. That's to hold the cell phone. Is there? Yeah, there's a maker's label, but it's obliterated. Something Productions. Aluminum even says on it. Hold on, let me get the pliers. Oh wait, there's another label. Focus. Star D. Davidson. Manufacturer company, Pat. Okay, maybe one man gets the credit for the aluminum legs, and another man gets the company gets the credit for the fixture on top. And I'm sure China gets the credit for the cell phone holder. Let me go get some pliers. Now, giving the once over on these tripod legs, you can see they're nice. They're smooth. But they were smart enough to put some knurling down here on the very ends. But what they failed to do was put some knurling on here to increase your grip strength on it. So I went and got the pair of pliers. And the pliers that I got, I think, are just about ideal. See how they have the round jaws in there? So that'll help create less marring on there. And if I wrap a rag around it first, that should reduce some of the mooring. All right, well, I'm hands-free right now. I just got the phone balanced on the desk. I actually hunted down a GoPro, and I thought it was too good to be true. It was on Marketplace, and they said shipping, I don't know, from somebody named Mantez or whatever, and they didn't respond after I paid for it. I said, are you shipping this? Finally, the orders got canceled, so. All right, here's my pliers. Now, that was pretty easy. And I said with that rag wrapped around it, nasty looking rag, but at least it saved no marks from using the pliers on there. Now I made a project with a tripod like this, and I actually carted it up to the antique mall and it sold. So old tripod legs, you can be creative with them and attach some weird lighting on top of it, and people fall in love with them. All right, that released that one. There we go. Now I can put you guys in the tripod. Now my legs, well, the tripod's legs are extended as far as they go. But what's nice is this has the crank it up option. Oop, cranked it right on out of there. No problem there though. It just drops back in. And there's a thumb screw. Snug that down. Spread the legs up and get you in the tripod. Now I have a tripod in the showroom on wheels, but it's not worth the effort of rolling it around into the showroom. I have to move too many things out of the way. Okay. Cheese box lid. Well, actually, I guess it kind of sort of was the lid. Now it's going to become the bottom. Glue. Now this says wood glue. It sells Elmer's wood glue. But the truth is, almost any white glue is still going to do the job, even if it doesn't say wood glue. I'm not so sure that they do that much different to the recipe of between wood glue and white glue. I think they just add coloring and give it a caramel color. It feels so good to be in the heat here now. Of course, the glue is going to squish out. Squish. And I was going to clamp it, but you know what? Let's just dead weight it. Let me go get amount of weight to sit on there, which will keep constant pressure on there. I have a collection of old cast iron barbells and other various chunks of steel to use for such an occasion. There's some weight. One in the middle, one of these on each end, and another one in the middle, and then drape it with, this is one ankle weight, I guess, 4 pounds. So there's probably about 10 pounds of weight here, and the glue is definitely being squished out. And ideally, Ideally. Anyway, it's best often with something like this to maybe do it as the last project of the day, so you can just walk away from it and leave it for 24 hours and don't have to worry about being in the way. But right now where this is sitting, this is a popular spot for me to do things, so I'll probably just pick the whole kit and caboodle up and place it down on the floor. Let me dampen this rag with a little bit of water to get that glue that's squished out of the way. That doesn't happen too often. That is, something goes together easier than it comes apart. You know that if you've worked mechanics on a car. Usually, a lot of times it's harder getting something back in than it was getting it off, like a water pump. Not to say getting it off was easy, but you don't have to worry about making sure your bolts line up or your gasket doesn't slip or you don't over torque. All right, well, I think that's a wrap on the cheese box. You know, all that effort just to increase its value by a couple of dollars. I just needed to put my hands on something constructive. That's one reason I went ahead and did that. And the fact also, it's just like, why is the got no bottom? Why is the lid fastened down? So, small victory, very small victory, but glad I did it.